Psalms of Ascent and Ecumenical Warfare, Psalm 120 to 122. Before I get to the ecumenical warfare part, I want to talk about the Psalms of Ascent. It is during the time of Holy Week when I'm recording this. It is Tuesday. Good Friday is coming very soon, and Easter, and we just finished celebrating Palm Sunday this past week. And historically, God's people, as they would have made their way to Jerusalem to the Passover feast, they would have ascended toward Jerusalem, toward the city of Jerusalem, singing the Psalms of Ascent. There's 15 of them, Psalm 120 to 134. And they would have sung these as they exited their homes and as they began to enter into that city. They would have slowly begun to hear each other's voices as they came together. As they got closer and closer together, they would have been singing together these psalms as they ascended the hill of the Lord, as they entered into the city of Jerusalem. And they're ascending because Jerusalem is at a higher location in the surrounding Judean region than the other places. So no matter what angle you would have come, you would have ascended to get there. Now, it is important to remember that when Jesus entered the city of Jerusalem, that last time that he entered, it was not merely to ride on a donkey and to go visit his friends. He wasn't coming to just merely eat the Passover meal. He was coming to be the Passover lamb. He came to Jerusalem to die. And so no doubt as he came into the city, as he entered Jerusalem, he would have been singing with the people of God these Psalms of Ascent. And they're significant if you think about them. And many throughout church history have made use of the Psalms of Ascent, especially during Holy Week, to meditate on them, especially between Palm Sunday and Good Friday. And I would encourage you to do the same. I want to just help us think through Psalm 120 to 122 for a moment, because the progression of thought is significant. And I'm calling this ecumenical warfare because the context is warfare. If you look at Psalm 120, the psalmist says, "In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. Deliver me, O Lord, from lying lips, from a deceitful tongue." And he goes on talking about a deceitful tongue. This is he understands what we understand, that we live in a culture of lies. That from the time that we drive out of that parking lot from church into our week ahead, we're going to be surrounded by lies from the world, in our workplaces, many times in our homes, what we watch, what we listen to, our own deceitful desires, as they call them in Ephesians, lies from the enemy. They are going to come to us. It speaks in verse 4 of a warrior's sharp arrows and gowling coals and of the broom tree. So you think of how Ephesians 6 says we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and these forces of evil. And it talks about these flaming darts or flaming arrows from the evil one that are coming at us as believers all through the week. That's the internal battle that we're facing. That the psalmist is speaking of in Psalm 120, this first of the Psalms of Ascent. He's saying there's this battle, and then he goes on. He says, "Woe to me, that I sojourn in Meshech, and that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. Too long have been my dwelling among those who hate peace. I am for peace, but they speak. When they speak, they are for war." And is that not so true, that as we want peace, as we want love, as we want to do God's will and advance his kingdom on the earth, others want war? And not only just others, but even the spiritual forces of darkness are against us in this. Even our own flesh is against the spirit. We think of Romans 7 and Paul saying, "I want to do what is right, but evil lies close at hand. I do not do the thing that I want to do, but what I do not want to do is what I keep on doing." This internal warfare drives to Psalm 121. What should someone do who's experiencing this warfare? They should pray. The psalmist says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made the heavens and earth. Is there anything more logical to do when you're in this type of warfare and distress than to point your eyes upward and to say, my help comes from the Lord. I need the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He can help me. He can deliver me. And then listen to the promise he begins to claim. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will neither sleep nor slumber. Behold, he keeps Israel will neither sleep nor slumber. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is the shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth to forevermore. Just glorious promises for the people of God. That the Lord is our defender. The Lord is our refuge. The Lord is a warrior king who fights for his people. He will fight for you. He will protect you. He will preserve you from all evil if you are his, and especially if you call upon him in distress. Now, that combination between trusting the promises of God and dependent prayer is a powerful combination, and it is how we do warfare. But we need one other element, and the passage flows into this. That is not sufficient alone to internally fight with the promises of God in prayer. Although we must do that all through the week, what we must do is also Psalm 122, this next Psalm of Ascent. He speaks of the corporate nature of Christianity. I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. I don't have time to build out how I believe in the new covenant, that's the church. But let's just remember it in its historical context. It's a corporate gathering of God's people. Our feet have been standing within your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem, built as a city that is bound firmly together, to which the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, as was decreed for Israel, to give thanks to the name of God. So they're gathering to give thanks. They're gathering to give praise to God. Therefore, thrones for judgment are set, thrones of the house of David. Pray for peace of Jerusalem. May they be secure who love you. Peace be within your walls and security within in your towers. So they're gathering together for the purpose of prayer. Did Jesus not say, my house should be called a house of prayer? They're gathering to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for the peace of God's people, gathering to pray for a unifying of the church. It goes on, for my brothers and companions' sake, I will say, peace be within you. So when I get to the gathering, I'm speaking, I'm saying something not only to God, I'm singing to him, I'm praying to him, but I'm also speaking, peace be to you, brother. To the brothers and the companions, I say, peace be within you. So coming together, not just for our own benefit, that I would be helped in my own struggles, but that I would help a brother, that I would say, peace be to you. For the sake of the house of the Lord, our God, I will seek your good. So again, this is the nature of the church. The house of the Lord is that we come together primarily for God, but then secondarily for our brothers and sisters. We're singing to edify them. We're praying to edify them. We're receiving the word eagerly for their sake. We're speaking and using our gifts to minister, to build up others into Christ. This is the nature of the corporate gathering. There is an intentional fighting for. Ephesians 4 says, be eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. So peace is necessary because ecumenical warfare is to happen. In ecumenical warfare, I mean three things by that. The ecumenical warfare brings about peace on the earth, but here's the progression of how it happens. First, we have our own battles. Okay, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, against principalities and power. There's suffering in our lives. There's sin in our lives. Therefore, we second come together. Ecumenical means to unify, to come together intentionally It says in verse 7, peace be within your walls, security within your towers. For my brothers and companions' sake, I will say, peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. So there's a coming together for the good of others, to love our brothers, to be unified with our brothers, to live in harmony with our brothers. And that leads to a third level. We do all of these things. We seek peace in this way. Why? Third, to spread the peace of Jerusalem into a culture in a nation that is at war with God. That is at war with God. You think of Psalm 2. Why do the nations rage? Why do the peoples plot in vain? Why do the kings of the earth, they set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed? And listen to what they say. Let us burst their bonds and cast their cords from us. What are they saying? They're saying, we don't want biblical morality. We don't want God's law. We will not be bound by these things. These cords will not have us. We want freedom from God's law. And that right there is warfare against God. That is hostility and striving against God Almighty. And so our job as the church is to go and bring peace and to reconcile hostile man to God, that he might have peace with God, that he might have peace internally against all the evil in himself and gain victory. And he might gather with the people of God to advance this peace and to promote this peace on the earth. Our King is a King of peace. The church is a place where warfare must happen in order for that peace to happen. It says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them, baptizing those who believe, bringing those into the church to produce more peace, to perpetuate the cycle of peace on the earth. Because the earth and our own selves internally are at war with God. And so we must continue to teach the truth. We must continue to pray to the God of peace. And he certainly will give us the victory and the success. Lord, as we continue to meditate on these things on Holy Week, may the Lord bless you, church. As you think through these Psalms of Ascent, I encourage you to read them, to pray to them, through them, and to think through them. And the Lord bless you and keep you. We'll see you at the Good Friday service in a few days. Blessings.